All right, it's Monday night. I didn't get around to it last night, my little chat talk. Ramble. Recap. I played Saturday and Sunday down at over at Charlotte's Web Pub in Wauchula, Florida. So that's the fourth day. 12 sets, basically 3 sets a day. Although they were all longer yesterday, they were all up around 120, 130, I think. Oh, no, actually, no, the last one was, usually the last one's the longest. Yesterday, the last one, I recorded them all. I didn't look, but I think it was no longer than an hour. Because I got a late start. Donald, knock it off. I named the cat Donald because he was born during the election. And the other one I named Lala, but it turned out to be a boy, so I changed his name to Zigaboo. But Donald is a disruptor as a cat as well. He's constantly, his older sister there, Lola's sister, Angie. Lola I got fixed like a year ago, or around more even. And but Angie is actually due to be fixed on May 28th. But she's the cutest black cat, and she's just tiny. But she's into it with everybody, and especially Donald. I mean, they go at it bad. I'm like, I'm going to come back, and there's going to be a dead cat one day. I hope not. But Zigaboo here, who I thought originally was a girl, he is a stud. And he's the most chill cat. Like, there's a little incest thing going on with the Angie and Zigaboo and Billy and Donald a little bit, but Zigaboo was the first. And but he's never into it with anybody. He's like just the chillest cat, man. He's the best sleeper. You know, all my other cats, if they're sleeping, you come into the room, you can see their eyes just open, or they don't jump up or anything, but he will stay in a deep sleep. He's just he is a riot. And he's always, when Donald chasing Angie around, he's kind of lurking in the background, I think as her protector. But she runs, I'm sitting on the couch here in my RV, and she spends a lot of time underneath there. She's cute, but she's not cuddly, she won't really let me. She'll let me pick her up, but she's kind of squirmy. The two girls are like Lola loves me and will not leave me alone and follows me around, but she won't. If I pick her up, she wants to get out of my arms, and then she'll just come and she'll rub against me or turn around in a circle, and she won't go away. So I think it's a girl thing. They're just programmed to stay alive and for their kids or something, Lola's doing something, and she's over on the stove right now. I wish I had a light. I do. But anyway, and last night, I ended up watching the Tim Pool with Trigonometry guys. It was like 2.5 hours. Basically, Tim just going off on them. And if you've ever watched Trigonometry, it's pretty interesting. Konstantin Kisin is like a Russian guy, grew up in the UK, and Francis Foster's his partner there, and they're married. They're with Constantine's got a wife. I don't know about Francis, but he came to prominence for he went to a debate at Oxford and kind of put them in their place about being basically spoiled little brats or something. But it showed up here. Tim Pool. If you're not familiar, you should be, because he's a somewhat annoying guy, but he's very well informed, and he's very good speaker. He just has his game together. And like a buddy of mine who turned me on to him said, it's like, yeah, he can be annoying, but you can't disagree with him often, or you don't end up disagreeing with him often. He's a smart guy, and he's good at cutting right into it. And he just was going at these guys, and these guys kind of revealed themselves. And they came to the defense of Douglas Murray, if you're familiar with the Dave Smith, Douglas Murray thing and the expert thing. You know, if you're not an expert, you shouldn't be talking about something BS. And but Francis more or less just kind of sat there the whole time. And the only time they spoke up was really just to be like, whoa, you know, we can't be just being... The logical, obvious answer is not, we can't go there, because you just have to concede to people who are on the other side, because they're on the other side. There needs to be another side. That's a quick summation, but generally what it was. They didn't have much to say. And Tim's just coming with facts. You can't, that's the thing. It's not like BS. He has facts and he backs everything up, and you're just like, he's incredibly well informed. So he's pretty impressive. You know, I kind of dove into a lot of that stuff with the podcast and shit. And Tim Pool kind of emerged as one that I still look forward to every night. It can get annoying. You know, he's got this guy Ian who's a bit of a clown. Some nights you're into his clownishness, and other nights it's annoying. You know, because every night it's about politics, and some nights you'll be like, you know, Elise Stefanik will come up. And if you don't follow politics at all, you don't know her. But they talk about politics every night, and Ian be, she is who? And I don't know if that's a specific example, but he'll be like, and she is the... And it's like, if you're talking about politics every night, we shouldn't have to start at step one all the time, you know, for this guy. So that can get annoying. You know, there's certain people in the political discussion who we shouldn't have to explain who they are. Because we talked about her last night and shit, you know. So that can get annoying. But sometimes he comes up with some left field stuff, and it's pretty funny. And he can say too much sometimes, you know, that it can be funny, or just like, wow. And so I ended up watching that, and one thing I'm amazed after playing music, and I go there, I'm there from 12 or 1 to about 6 or 7 every night, 7 o'clock, and I'm worn out, like physically. I'm not feeling, I don't know, I guess I'm sitting around a little too much in the RV or something, and just, you know, like maybe I'm on a little tilt, I don't know, I'm just not, I don't feel bad, like, I mean, I feel creaky, you know? I just feel like I'm 80, and it's fucking, I don't feel great about that. And I don't drink often. I mean, this beer, this has been in this cooler, these Budweisers. I've bought like an 18 pack or something. I still got like 10 in there from like 4 months ago or something. But, so yeah, so it just got a little too late, and I was like, we'll do this tonight. There's a few things that I like, you know, and it's nice because it's all fallen away to where there's a few that I like to watch, and I'm not watching too much. But I get a kick out of, I saw the thumbnail for Tucker Carlson, who I watch some of his stuff and some I don't, but he's interviewing Ben of Ben and Jerry's. And they're kind of looked at as left-wing loonies, and Tucker's obviously a right-wing guy. So when they do something like that, where they go and interview, and it's it'll be a respectful interview. It's not like Tucker trying to nail him for something. And it's just kind of funny when they take somebody who you thought was completely dismissed by our side. And I'm not really on a side. I mean, I'm definitely not a liberal or a Democrat supporter in any way, shape, manner, or form, nor will I ever be. And but I will reveal I did vote for Al Gore and John Kerry. I don't know who that guy was, but I was younger. But didn't vote for Obama either time. But I didn't vote in either of those elections. And I had no problem with Obama's first term. You know, I'm like, yeah, whatever, this sounds good. Seems like a good, upbeat guy. And then it's been a nightmare. He changed our country. He ruined our... Since then, it's been all race, you know? We were well beyond that stuff. And thankfully so. You know, to the point now where we're like, Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. That's what he's a successful black businessman in California who ran against Gavin Newsom in the recount election or whatever, recall election several years ago. And that's what the LA Times had a headline, the black face of white supremacy. Crazy. Absurd, which I generally like, absurdity. But sometimes you're like, when it's gotten to that level and people take that as deadly serious and real, you're like, oh boy, we're in trouble. And so anyway, so I played Saturday and Sunday. And it was roughly about 1 to 7:30 last night. And it was good. But the first set yesterday on Sunday was possibly, in the first half of it, I think it got slightly better. But the first 10 songs were as bad as it's ever been. I just couldn't do anything right. I did Homegrown by Neil Young, and it's a very simple song, and I couldn't, it was hard. But I'll put them all up. You can laugh at them and, say to yourself, what is this guy even doing? This is embarrassing. But I don't believe it is. I'm doing what I like, man. I'm trying hard, and I care. You could argue, I don't know, I definitely could play more and practice more. And I need to, And I play every day, but I'm not doing it in a, which is kind of the constant thing. I'm not doing a formatted practice, here's 20 songs to run through. I'm just learning new songs or just whatever comes into my mind or just noodling around. And it's tough because you don't want to turn it into something where you're like, oh God, I gotta go practice now. That's where so it's kind of a, I'm sitting here thinking about that right now. I'm like, well, what, so you got to kind of find, see Donald's over there. He's doing something now. Oh, yeah. Hey, get at it. I had hamburgers, and I got the little styrofoam tray there that the hamburgers were in. And I had one hamburger. I put the other one in plastic and put it. But now I didn't wash it off, and he's starting to lick it and chew on it. Because usually I would wash the blood off right away. Or whatever. Yeah, blood, I guess. And now he's over here. So I'm going to do that right now. That's what I'm doing. Putting a little water on that tray and putting it in the sink, and then there's a plastic cover in your RV that you put on so you can do stuff on the sink. So that's off limit. He is just, God, cats are so much better when they sleep, huh? That is what do they call it? What's that saying? Curiosity killed the cat. Yeah, they can't keep their nose out of shit. I'm sure it's led to a lot of untimely situations. So, but that was good. That was the key, man. I was just like, I played Saturday. I went in there Friday to be like, you guys mind if I come again? And they're great. It's all girls that work there. And I think that may be their thing. And they're all nice, and they're just like, yeah. And then I have Saturday, I'm like, mind if I come tomorrow? They're like, nope. So I just go there, and it's people I don't know, and there was never a ton of people, but there was 10 people at one time, a group. They come in groups. See, this place, I don't know what you can see. If you're interested, you can look online. This pub is literally out there. It's kind of a semi-intersection. It's on Route 64 in Florida, which runs basically from Bradenton into Sebring. There's nothing, and I mean nothing. There's a couple houses and a horse paddock, a couple horses behind there. This one horse who more or less watches me the whole time. And but there's no gas station over there or anywhere. There's nothing but, so people are riding their motorcycles, and it's a nice ride through there, but they stop and have a beer or two, and then they continue on to wherever they're going. There's routes that they have set up, I guess. I don't ride, so, But, so it's not necessarily a destination in its own right. It's more of a stop, a biker friendly bar. And then I had, yesterday, I had these 5-6 guys show up, and they were right out of the movies, tatted to the max, and just mean looking dudes, man. And I'm just like, so, and they ended up being cool. One of them gave me some cash, and, they gave a couple at first, he's just like, boo, like good naturedly. They were cool. I'm not intimidated necessarily, but they were as legitimate biker 1%ers as you could be. I don't think they were. None of them had any colors on or anything, but they looked the part, I'll tell you. But they were fine. And that's what I like. And then, I wrapped up the set. I switched to ukulele halfway through while they were there, which is not the most hardcore, manly, You'd think that maybe now's the time to do the ZZ Top and Skinnerd, which I don't really do any of those tunes by either of those groups. I wrote down Tuesday's Gone, but I've yet to even go through it, I think, once playing it. But, and I kind of worked out a little bit of Heard It on the X by ZZ Top, but I don't feel it's worthy yet for public consumption. But so I went to the ook, and then I did Whale of a Tale for the last, and I swear by my tattoo, which I didn't do it because of that. I just feel that's that tune from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that Kirk Douglas sings. And I just feel people of my age would be like, would laugh. That's me. No matter what, I'm like, I'm looking to laugh, man. And a lot of times I kind of believe in that Monty Python, where you don't sit there and go, hey, I'm going to tell a joke. Or you don't smile, like you play the straight guy, but you're being so over the top and absurd that any normal person, in my opinion, would know you're kidding. And I have like 5 siblings who don't ever think I'm kidding. And it can get annoying because I'm more or less always kidding. I mean, I really am. Even if there's some seriousness about what I'm saying, and there usually is and stuff, but I'm more or less always looking. I got this saying, it's a test, and it really is. Sometimes I literally am testing you, and other times I'll be like, that was kind of a test, and they, that you figure, you find out something about the way people react to what you're saying and shit, and so you don't want to always let on that you're kidding, and that's kind of how I roll, and it's tough for a lot of people, but that's just the way I am, so that's the way I do it all the time. But if you were to meet me, understand that it's all to be challenged. Like one of my good friends, the one I probably chat with the most, and he just got it right away, and that's why we still talk. He'll just shoot me right down, and he'll be like, "Okay, Steve," or just ignore it, and it doesn't bother me at all. It makes me laugh, and I'm like, he just gets it, he got my sense of humor, and we're able to plow through everything, and whereas I have this one sister who just will still like sideline anything that's going on to complain about the same thing that I just, like if I swear too much or do you care about anything? And, and obviously, and I do, because usually when I'm around them, I'm the only one talking, and I'm usually talking about something, and especially as the COVID and shit, I was always railing about something, and they don't want to hear it. They just want to talk about, I walked through the neighborhood and there was 3 people. They were from Michigan. Your brother's married to a girl from Michigan. They're from Michigan. And it's like, a lot of people in Michigan. I don't know. What am I supposed to feel about that? Do you draw it out to they're from the United States? We're from the United States. Can you believe that? Can you believe the odds of I'm walking through here and they're from the same country I am? So I don't mean to mock you if you're watching this, Sue. Well, I guess I am mocking you because I just find it crazy. I mean, getting to know people is one thing, but just walking around and more or less meeting them for a minute and being like, you're from wherever, and then that being all you talk about is just crazy. But anyway, I guess, I got to say some of these things outside. I love all my siblings, but they kind of drive me nuts in a lot of ways. And I was talking to my buddy, who that I talk to the most, and I'm the only one in my family who's probably ever engaged with psychedelics, and it makes a difference. They're the type of people who would be like, holy shit, I would never do that. You got to be crazy to do that, or that's why you're crazy. And I'm like, well, it's funny you say that because you people are generally dull and uninteresting, and I don't think I am. I am maybe when I'm with you guys, because anything I talk about, you don't want to talk about. So it's a very stifling. I'm having trouble with my siblings. And I talked to one of my brothers tonight who I've been having the most trouble with. And it was a good conversation and there was nothing troubling, but I have to walk on eggshells. I just can't go anywhere. Even when I start telling any simple story, I can't say certain things. And it's just very stifling for me because I'm a no subjects off limit guy, I'm not going to go into the intimacy of my masturbatory habits, but I masturbate. And I bet you do too. No matter how cool you think you're, oh, fuck that, man. I got chicks do that for me. Bullshit. Me don't think you protestist too much. But anyway, so that was that. So I did 6 sets of music. And I masturbated several times this weekend as well. Generally, I remember watching Conan. I loved Conan's show. I thought Conan was the best ever. Dave could be interesting, but Dave came across and is a douchebag. A known, even admitted douchebag. I think he knows he's a douchebag. Whereas Conan was just sharp as a tack and funny, and we were more or less the same age, so his reference, I got everything he did. It was just great. But he had Sting on one night, and Sting was talking about, when I'm on the road, I usually rub one out. I don't know if he said rub out, but it's known that releases endorphins, and men just want to go to sleep, like the lion. He lays around, has sex, and goes to sleep, and eats what the women catch for him. And Sting was just like, I'll rub one out. It helps me get to sleep. And I really kind of started doing it specifically as a nighttime thing for that reason. And it's been rather successful. Sometimes wake up and then there's sometimes afternoon. I don't know. I'm pretty much of the opinion we all do it, so we're going to talk about that occasionally. Not in depth. Just for comic relief. But so that was it. So we'll try and talk about we're just recapping it all, Today was a busy day. Monday I had to go up. I go up to, so I moved out of my house approximately 2 months. I think it was the 7th of March. And I got my mail on hold. And, the little form you fill out at the post office says 30 days. So I went there last month in April on the 30-day point, got all my mail. And then I spoke to a man at the post office. And, there was 2 people at the window with little post office shirts on, and he had just a polo on and seemed to be their supervisor or something. But he brought me around to the, one of those windows where the top opens, but it was around the corner so that they could continue conducting business while we discussed, because I was telling him, like, I don't really know where, I haven't done the change of address because I'm just temporarily staying somewhere. And he's like, yeah, that's understandable. And, we'll just have the girl keep holding it. So I waited. It's been a month. So I go up there today and be like, do you got any mail? They had nothing. And that guy had written stuff down. I kind of had the feeling, because what he wrote it on seemed to be paper that wouldn't be considered official. But there was a black woman who was in charge there today, and she was nice enough, but it was just funny because, I'm like, I talked to the guy, the postmaster, last month, and he said he was just going to hold on. And he's like, was it a woman? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, then it should have been a woman, as in a woman's in charge or something. I don't know. It wasn't like you could only talk to. It was like, if it wasn't a woman, then it wasn't the person in charge statement. But it was clearly a guy. It was he looked like he was probably of Mexican descent. And because, he had that square jaw and the beard that's kind of just on the, it was clearly a man. Not confused about that at all. So anyway, they didn't hold it, but she's like, just fill out another thing. So hopefully because I'm waiting, because I had my debit card. I had a couple unauthorized charges, and they froze that. And that's supposed to be coming in the mail. And it was Monday or Tuesday last week, and they said 7 days, but that was. So I went to my house, and there was a few things in the mailbox, but nothing of significance. So, who knows? So that's just a pain in the ass. It's like a 60-mile drive from where I am, so it's not the easiest. But I ended up, the one thing that sucks is there's no Publix near me. The closest Publix is in Sebring or Arcadia, and they're both like 30 miles away. So I was able to hit Publix, and I went down to Brandon, to the Thorntons, where I get the 15 cents off. So I paid $2.84 for a gallon there, filled up my tank. Went to Home Depot looking for some clamps for my, to hold down the papers on my clamshells, the lyrics, and they didn't have any. They only had like these massive metal ones, which I'm trying to replace. But then I went to the Walmart next door, and they did have it, and got a bunch of cat-related stuff, as well as some toilet paper for the RV. And then I went to the gas, and then I went to the Nature Zone. They have like the bakery outlet where they sell the bread cheap. And whenever I go by there, I like to get the Nature Zone. I don't know if they have that in the other parts of the country, but it's good. Like it's like the old school, like big pieces of white bread, thick slice. Good for like hamburgers. It's just good. I like it. They got the Dave's Killer bread there too, which was made by the former inmate. It's supposed to be good, but it's like pinky thin, and I'm like, I don't like bread like that. I want to try that, but I'm like, why don't you make a thick sliced? I'll eventually try it, because it's supposed to be noticeably better in ways that I just don't know, I guess, but I want to try it. And then took some back roads back to Zolfo Springs, stopped at my storage thing, got a couple CDs. I was looking for some, I got that thing packed. It's 11 by 15, 10 by 15, I think, and I got it packed. I have to move shit just to get in there. And I didn't move a lot. I was hoping to find I got some flip-flops that I want for the shower here, because I use the shower at the RV place here. And I had a couple pairs of flip-flops that were old, like the Adidas type, and they were so old and hardly used, but they'd sat in a plastic container for so long that they just, the part that goes over your foot just detached. I kind of tried gluing it with that shoe glue, G-O-O, and that it just didn't work. So, but I think I have a couple other pair of flip-flops somewhere in there that are made differently that should be good for that, because you don't really want to walk barefoot on those showers. Not that it's not that big an RV park, and but it's kind of, the hair on the fucking pipe and shit, or the drain. And I went in there the other night. So I go in and take a shower like last week at some point, and to shave. So I go in there, and there's somebody was in the shower when I got there. I shaved. I took a dump, took a shower in the other shower, and he was still in the shower when I left. I don't know how long. I was kind of wondering, I heard him moving somewhat, because I was thinking I should let somebody know. I'm like, there might be somebody dead in the shower, because there are a lot of old people. But that was over like 20 minutes. I didn't time it, but I did those 3 things, and I was in no rush, and I was just like, wow. I don't know. I mean, you kind of would start pruning, wouldn't you? Crazy. So when I was at Epcot, I went to Epcot last week. I think I put up some video about that. Yeah, and I went to the Pyology. And that was all right. I got it down there, man. I mean, so basically I'm paying, it's like 400 and something bucks for the year. And it comes out to 33 bucks a month, which is manageable, you know? Easily manageable. But it's essentially, at the point, I don't really care about riding rides anymore, especially in Epcot. And it's more or less a concert ticket. Because I go and I just watch the mariachi band, like do like 5, 15, or 20-minute sets. And that's the main thing at Epcot, just the mariachi band, you know? I might go, England's on the opposite side of the lake there, and they got a cover band that does, you know, Clash tunes and Stones and Beatles. I don't necessarily need that. The mariachi band is legit. They're doing mariachi songs, and they're hardcore. They're top-notch band, you know. So going there and seeing 5 of their shows is and considering I'm probably going to Disney 2 to 4 times a month, so that's all right there, you know. 30 bucks a month, and I go like 4 times. And then I went over to the Polynesian Hotel after that and watched the guy, one of those big guys. But I was throwing out tunes to him, you know, Hawaiian tunes. He's like, damn, like Pakalolo, which is Israel, you know, Kamakamaka Waoli, the guy who does, you know, the Wonderful World that everybody loves. But the song that his favorite song, or the song that he did live all the time, was this song called Pakalolo. Like, oh, it was oh so sweet, it was heavenly. If you're ever down on the sound, Pakaloko will tickle your feet. About smoking weed. And the verses are like, I woke up and reached in my pocket, found a roach from the night before. So people, casual music fans probably think he's just this big gentle giant, which he was. But he was fucking stoned every second he was awake, you know. It's like the other thing too, back to the swearing, which I can occasionally go into like fits where it's I don't think it's Tourette's, but where just I'll be excited or telling a story, or I guess mad or something. But Walt Disney swore, they say he swore like as bad as it could be. And you just wouldn't know that. It's like the other thing. Everybody thinks that the 2-fingered, they see all these pictures of Walt pointing with 2 fingers. It's because he was holding a cigarette, and they took it out of the pictures. He was, you know, I hate that. You know, there's a lesson there. He died because of the cigarette smoking, I believe, and it shouldn't be, you shouldn't try and cancel that out. That's the other thing. Bruce Springsteen did that on his box set Tracks. When that came out, the pictures of him sitting on a couch with his notebook, you know, and his cool leather boots and shit. He had a cigarette in that picture, and he had it taken out. And it's like, dude, I don't believe in that. You don't fucking do that, man. You just don't do that. It's a very simple thing. You don't lie. And the other thing, too, Springsteen did this tour, this Ghost of Tom Joad tour, where they're like his solo tour. The whole show, he had a guy playing keyboards behind a screen. The thing, the screen, whatever you call it, you know, the curtain. And I don't even know if he announced him, but it's like, I'm doing a solo tour, but I got a guy, and he's doing that. Think of My Hometown by Springsteen. He likes that synthesizer where you're playing an acoustic guitar, but he's always got that kind of just a sound in the back, like a white noise almost. But don't say you're playing solo when you got a guy playing keyboards behind the curtain. That's not solo. And what the fuck, man? Why can't they look at that guy and know that he's there? I just find that very off-putting. You know, people, he's been such a disappointment, man. You know, his thing with Obama, he's just full of shit. But I'll tell you that I watched that interview he did with Stern, who's another fucking... Howard Stern's a fucking disgrace. Just a fucking loser. Don't give a shit how much money he has or anything else. Just a loser. And it kind of pisses me off that, like, Keith Richards, when he put out his latest album, will go and talk to Howard. It's like, you people are losers, man. It sucks that we have to fucking deal with listening to Howard Stern or something, you know? To not know he's a loser and just... You don't have to say that. I mean, I'm saying it because I'm talking about the situation. But, like, if you're Keith Richards, to, like, that's the only interview you do. It's like, dude, if you think Howard Stern's fucking cool... Shit like that just is, to me, it sucks because there's a big hero of mine, Keith Richards, and there's just things that you gotta suck in that you don't like, you know, like with the Neil Young situation now. He's just such a fucking retard that it sucks. It really sucks, you know. Like I said, he speaks out, and that's more than most of them do, but he's wrong about everything. I mean, just a pure example of somebody who does not have to live the consequences of what he's espousing and supporting. You know? None of us who like support Trump and are all good with the deportations, we understand that the majority of the people are probably good, honest, hardworking people, but there needs to be a system in control, and what we lose with the people who aren't good is not worth just having it wide open, man. It's just common sense, you know? It's not hate, you know? So that's just so ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So, that's where things are at. So yeah, so 6 sets of music. The last set on Sunday was pretty good, you know, and I kind of was pretty focused on that one, and that I finally did Ship of Fools. I just stuck with the acoustic guitar, and then I switched to the Acoustasonic for the last 2 tunes. I did Ship of Fools, which was the first song I learned all the words to, but I fell apart on verse 2, forgot all the words and the chords. I just lost my place, but the first verse and third verse were good. And then I did Touch of Grey, and it was probably the best I'd ever done that. Like the 2 bridges, you know, it's a lesson to me. I did those pretty much right on for like the first time ever. So I was happy with that, ended with that one. Because I will survive. We will survive. So I'm still sticking with the, 10, 4 songs, 45 minutes, and I sometimes I'll try and look down at the phone. I got it set up down there where I'm recording, and to see where I'm at. But I'll go to the ukulele for 3, 4, 5 songs, 15, 20 minutes, and then finish with 2 or 3 songs back on the guitar. Like one set, I just did Desolation Row after the acoustic, after the ukulele, and I figured that was sufficient. Kind of muffed a couple lines in Desolation Row. I got to do it more. That was that the first set? The first set, I was just not. I just was not comfortable. I opened up with Ripple, and it just didn't get any better for a while. I fucked up Ripple. Then I did Coming into Los Angeles, kind of muffled that one. Then I did a bunch of songs I hadn't done yet. I was like, oh, I want to do that one. I haven't done it. And it was ugly. I'll put it up eventually. It didn't feel good at all. But I did Mellow My Mind again, I think. Saturday or Sunday. And I think I got it all the way through very nicely. Yeah, and there was actually somebody there when I did that. Some lady came out with it, 2 ladies. So they were there for that. And then I opened and I closed the set with Stuck Inside a Mobile. That went pretty well. That was the first time I had done that one. Felt good. And you could tell when the song, I did Tweeter and the Monkey Man, and I kind of mumbled my way through that with those ladies there. And they were like, "Oh, that was good. Who's that?" And I'm like, "The Traveling Wilburys." And but for me personally, it was a bit of I'm trying, the words I got written, I don't know them well enough to even, you got to get it where I still need to read it, but I know as I'm reading them, I kind of know what's coming, and I don't have that down yet. So that got a little ugly at points. But I'd been wanting to do that one. I could do that one more. I like that. It's a good story song, And that's allegedly, Dylan wrote that and kind of making fun of, or just kind of having fun with the Springsteen thing, Just like the car songs and the names in New Jersey and all that. So just having fun with it. I don't think he's poking fun at him. But, kind of, but in a good-natured way. So that's just a good tune to have. And I think a lot of these ladies didn't know it, but I think people do know that one. So that's what I do. I kind of do a lot of tunes that you probably haven't heard. They may be by a band you know or not, like a Flying Burrito Brothers. Not too many people know about them. And then, but I'm also doing songs, older songs, but like that you haven't heard in a while, like Tweeter and the Monkey Man and, Loving Cup by the Stones. There's a song, to me that's like a greatest hit. I don't know how many people do know Loving Cup, But I did Sweet Virginia, and that was a bit of a mess. That's a weird song to kind of get a good flow on when you're doing it by yourself. Trying to do the little walk down, dun, dun, dun. I'm just not skilled enough to keep that flowing well enough yet. The harmonic, I have trouble with that still. I keep forgetting. I'm using the key of A harp, but I'm always wondering, is it E or D? And I literally, you can see in the video when I put it up that I was switching around and kind of made a note to put on the paper, use A harp. It seems to be right, but I got to do that. That's my cat that died, who I love dearly. It was a sweet cat, and it's just a great tune. That's one of the first tunes when you get into Exile on Main Street. That's side 2 of Exile on Main Street. Just an awesome album. Still, always has been, always will be. But side 1, one of the greatest opening tunes, Rocks Off, and Keith slides up on the guitar there. But that first side A is great, but it's rock and roll. Rocks Off, Casino Boogie, Tumbling Dice closes it. Hip Shake, I think, is on that first side. Hip Shake, Casino Boogie. But then side 2 is the acoustic side. You got Lovin' Cup, Sweet Black Angel, Torn and Frayed, and another tune too that's great. I haven't listened to the actual album in a while, but and that's those first 2 sides. The first record, and when it was a record, my brother had that, and thankfully, so I was able to get into that one. He could have just had Hot Rocks, but he had Exile on Main Street, so it was great. But that side 2 is kind of the acoustic side. That was always a favorite. Sweet Black Angel, great stuff. Torn and Frayed, unbelievable tune. And it's just about, it's old, but it's torn and frayed. So that's and I did on Saturday, I did No Expectations, Dear Doctor, Salt of the Earth, and Sympathy for the Devil all in a row. All in E. I believe they're all key of E. But I just did them all one after the other. And No Expectations, I didn't have the lyrics, and I believe I got them all right. I like doing those slow songs like that. You know, I did "Standing on the Moon" again on Sunday. I think the last set, and that came out well. And I changed. You know, I did "Gulf of America." And then in the bridge where it's like I can see all of Southeast Asia, I can see El Salvador. So I changed it. I can see all of Hollywood burning and all their stupid wars. I hear the cries of children on the other lies they told. So I got to work on that. I want it to rhyme there. But that's what the Dead would do to Dylan tunes. You know, they would change a few words to kind of update it or just fit the occasion. And so I have no problem doing that. Because in that first verse, you know, the Gulf of Mexico is tiny as a tear. It's Gulf of America, man. So that was fun. And that went pretty well. I went in, I was going to do the three of them, and I threw in Sympathy for the Devil at the end. I just figured, why not? And I think I got most of it right. I got the first verse right, importantly, the Jesus one. So all in all, you just got to keep hitting it, man. But I'll tell you, it takes a lot out of you. You know, it's hot. It's Florida. There's always been a wind, and that wind is deceptive. It dehydrates you. You know, I guess you're sweating and it's blowing it off you. So that's why the last set I just started cramping up again, and I was just like, yeah, time to wrap this up. I was beat. But it was, you just got to keep on it, man. And I got to step it up. I got to do more than just Saturday and Sunday. I got to start getting some stuff in the week if I want to not have to get a real job. Which is really depressing to think about, man. I can't imagine worrying about a drug test. And not that I don't even have any pot or anything, but, you know, a lot of people, they go outside at this bar and they I don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything, but yeah, you know, there's joints smoked and I don't want to worry about that shit. You should be able to smoke pot. I agree, you shouldn't smoke it at work if you're driving a truck or forklift or whatever you're doing, be an electrician, a plumber. I am winking a little bit, but you know, you're doing pest control. Come on, but that's absurd. And like the other thing too, you get medical marijuana, you can't have guns. That's absurd too. Yeah, you don't want people. Look, man, I've been a pretty heavy pot smoker for fucking since I was about 20, since I went to college. You know, I didn't get into it in high school. I did my sports and stuff and just took care of the grades. Then when I went to college, since then, so that was like 1986. So I've been pretty much smoking pot every chance I get since then. But at the same time, like I haven't had it for a few months and I'm fine. I mean, I like it and I miss it, but I'm not like, you know, I can deal. But yes, as soon as I can get more, I will. You know, that sort of situation. And that's why I'm thinking of one of the things about moving to Nevada, and that legitimately, I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm an adult, and I love music. I love getting high. The fact that I can't just go and buy some fucking weed and come home from my job or get up in the morning on a Sunday and put on some fucking awesome music and get high and make breakfast or lunch, you know, is just absurd. I mean, fuck you, you know, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not even hurting myself. It's just absurd. You know, especially these bozos who they drink or they think drinking scotch or their whiskey is okay, which it is. It's okay with me, but that you do that and that's okay. And like, because it's legal or, you know, it's probably technically worse for you. So that whole thing kind of drives me up the wall a little bit. And that's one of the shitty things about Florida. And also the cops here and the sheriffs, they're all, you're not getting those, you know, you're not going to, it can worry you, you know, you don't get they're just going to take it and let you go feel, you know. So it's just absurd. That's one of the shitty things about the Florida. But that's my big decision, man. And I guess ultimately you'd kind of maybe spend half the year in Florida and half out in Nevada or something. Although the summer, going out there in the summer is not necessarily the best thing, but I like that desert, the wide open spaces. I mean, you get it here in the central Florida too, you know, like it's all flat and the big skies, but there's a lot more population. The population's thicker here, you know. You go out in Nevada and shit, there's a city, and I mean, there's like Las Vegas, but then there's nothing. You go 20 miles outside of Las Vegas, you're the only person, and it's awesome, you know. And it's deserty, so it's like not like in Florida where you might be sitting at a campsite and there's a fucking jungle behind you that you can't even see it and you're hearing shit moving around. You know, at least out in the desert, it's like you can see if you shine a light or whatever, or you can see the where the sky and the cool rock formations, you know, and the Joshua trees and stuff and cacti. It's just kind of my sort of topography, geography. And I gotta tell you, Arizona, Arizona's another one of those weird states. I don't know a ton of, but there's a lot of cool shit in Arizona. And it's a big state, but you got Sedona and Flagstaff, you know, the Grand Canyon, and then kind of the Colorado River out down into Laughlin, right on the border with Cali. And which kind of, that's one of my favorite areas there, the Arizona Strip, where Nevada is right there, and Utah, St. George. And if you're ever on the 15 going down into Vegas from Utah, you drive through where the Virgin River is, and you're in Arizona for like 10 miles. And that's some of the coolest area. There's all Joshua trees, and I've camped up there on the Nevada side. Right, I think it's Mesquite is the first city you come into, and it's all BLM land, so you can just drive up there and camp wherever you want, you know. And camped there several times. It's all Joshua trees. It's just awesome. And the cool thing I love about that is I think, anywhere from 40 to 60 miles from Vegas there, but you can see the glow of Vegas way off in the distance, you know. And there's also a couple right in Mesquite there, like right where you're at, about, you know, maybe 5 miles once you're up where you're going to be camping. But there's a couple casinos right there. And I kind of like being out off by yourself out there, but civilization's not, you know, that's what I like about Florida, and just the warm weather where you have like a well-lit place. Like I love the going to get gas when you're traveling at like 2 a.m. where shit's just weird. You're kind of fucking wonky because you've been probably driving for fucking 8 hours, 10 hours, and possibly being high the whole time. But you get out and just everything's weird at the gas station. Sometimes there's legitimately weird shit going on. You know, you're seeing shit that you're just like, oh my God. And I like that, you know? I really like that sort of thing, you know? And I'm a pretty vanilla guy when it comes down to it. I'm usually not generally up to anything, but I like seeing that. And I'm also a big enough guy where I'm generally going to be left alone, you know? So, but you still have people come up to you in the weirdest situations. You know, you're pumping gas and they come up and ask for something occasionally, you know, especially you get out west, you know. California, it's professional transients and shit, you know, in Vegas area and stuff. I like the warm nights. That's what's I love about Florida. Florida's a nighttime state to me. If you have to do shit at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like job related, especially like pest control, which I did, it's fucking horrible. It is hell. It's horrifying. It's not good for you. It seems stupid. But then you, like after the gig yesterday, you know, or Saturday night, you know, I kind of have minimized my Taco Bell at this point, but it's just nice, you know, like it's dusk and you drive over there, you're kind of worn out, and you get out of your car and it's just fucking beautiful. And sometimes there's even a breeze. And, you know, the lights are just coming on. There's generally you don't have the crowds and shit, and it's just so, everything about it, I love it. Weather, the sounds, it's just such a nice time, and just nighttime. Like, I'm always up. Like last night, I usually go out and get rid of some cat poop and shit around midnight or even 1 o'clock, and that's just normal to me. And like last night, there's a dumpster, like 100 feet up the end of the little road I'm on, and I know that there's occasionally cats in there, and I friggin' opened that thing at like 1 o'clock, and the cat was right there. Sometimes it's right over there in the dumpster. This one was right, and it was just like, ah! So next thing you know, the light comes on at the RV right at the end, and I walk back, and the next RV down, the guy was out there smoking a cigarette. I don't know if he had been smoking the cigarette or if I woke him up. I would like to think in a situation like that, even though I kind of did, I didn't get too loud, but that what happened, like even if you didn't see it, or you're just, oh yeah, the cats are always, but sometimes you wonder if they're like, what's he up to? It's like, I was obviously at the dumpster, and there's most not unusual for there to be there's cats all over the place here. And I was kind of expecting it, but I didn't expect the cat to be literally opened up the thing and it was right there. And she just jumped out and ran away. So I wasn't, but it could have jumped, So that was just kind of a little, but every night I walk out there, and right where I'm at, there's 2 gas stations. Across the street is a state park. Beautiful, on the Pioneer Park on the Peace River. And in fact, they had the Watermelon Festival on Saturday. So I went over, when I got back from my gig, there was a guy playing live music, Thomas Mack. I believe he's in Vegas or Nashville. He told his story. He's been there 8 years. He's like 26. But he had a big song that went viral, millions of listens on TikTok and Instagram or something. And it was pretty funny. It was about how beer is better than women, and it was a good tune. I mean, I could have written a song like that, and I approved of it. The rest of it was kind of cheesy. Like, he's like, who thinks 70s country is the best? Outlaw country. Or how about 80s? I think 90s is the best, and that's the Garth Brooks era, and I just can't agree with that. So, but I had heard him before I got over there. I took my scooter. Or not, yeah, it's a scooter, I guess. But he did his little, just like a verse of Folsom Prison, verse of Mama Tried, and but I was still there a good 45 minutes he played, which was amazing too. I mean, he played till about 10 o'clock. So that was, I was just surprised that they let him go that long. So that was cool. But other than that, there's like 2 gas stations right at the intersection. I'm right at the intersection of 64 and 17. And there's a Pioneer restaurant right there, which seems to kind of be open intermittently, which I have not been to. And then there's this RV park. And other than that, there's nothing. Wauchula, the city of Wauchula is like 4 miles up the road. No Publix, but you got a Walmart and a Winn-Dixie. And, Burger King, McDonald's, Taco Bell, all that, Pizza Hut. But that's like the only pizza. I think there's a Domino's and a Pizza Hut. Maybe a Hungry Howie's. Like, no, like, Wauchula House of Pizza. Which I would like. I always like to try those, So I got another... Saturday I went to the Taco Bell. Sunday I did the Pizza Hut for the 3rd time in like 2 weeks. Which might be... I hadn't had the thick pan. I get the thick pan pizza when I do. And I hadn't had that for a long time. And now I've had 3 in like 2 weeks. So I'm probably good with that for a while. That's an indulgence. That's like a heart attack pizza. I get the thick pan pepperoni and extra cheese. But all in all, just good to be playing. And there was, I played a lot. A lot of the time there was nobody there. But also there was people coming in and out and, interactive. It'll be on the tape, the interactions and stuff. And just happy to be doing it. But I need to get better. I need to tighten it up, man. Too many lazy mistakes where it just seems like I'm just messing up shit I should, like Ship of Fools. I mean, I don't know what happened there. That just, I shouldn't have. I had even gone over that song in my head, just singing the words without the guitar, and I got that one down. I got it down in the second verse. Saw your first ship sink and drown from rocking of the boat, and all that could not sink or swim was just left there to float. I won't leave you drifting down. But whoa, it makes me wild with 50 years upon my head. I think in the original on Mars Hotel, he says like 30 years. To have you call me child, I fucked that one all up. And you just got to go on, man. But when I did Whale of a Tale on the ukulele, when those guys were there, I get that first verse, there was Mermaid Minnie, met her down in Madagascar, and I could not remember the next line. And so I started it again because that was the first verse. And it's obvious because I met her down in Madagascar. She would kiss me anytime that I would ask her. Then one evening, our flame of love burned out. Blow me down and pick me up. She swapped me for a trout. Oh, God, a whale of a tale to tell you, lads. A whale of a tale or two about the flapping fish and girls I've loved on nights like this with the moon above. A whale of a tale, and it's all true. I swear by my tattoo. And with that, I did want to mention one more thing. There's this one channel I watch. Wonder Hussy is a great YouTube channel. She's a cute woman. She's about 50 and shit. So, and she's very witty, and a lot of her references are right in my zone. I understand them, and she's just very funny and does great videos. But there's another guy, this guy Mike Zikopoulos. He's from New Jersey, and he lives in LA now. He's like a high-end carpenter, does like specialized jobs and shit. But I got turned on to him through Wonder Hussy. And he's got a cool channel. He does like my Sunday night, the chat I'm doing is he kind of does one every Sunday, and I've I guess taken off on that. It's something I enjoy as well. But he hits these subjects all the time that are, again, he's like 58, I'm 56. So he's talking about things in a stage in life similar to mine. And he'll bring up shit that is like right in what I've been thinking and stuff, and it's just pretty interesting. But he had one last night. It was about family, and he's got a little more of an unsettled family, talking about how it can be hard and stuff. And I got my issues with my siblings and shit, but nothing like what he's dealing with. So. But a very interesting channel. I would highly recommend it. Mike, I think it might be Michael Zikopoulos, like Zicopoulos, a Greek guy. And just really interesting. Like, I really look forward to his videos, and he puts them out during the week. Like, he'll go over the cabinetry he's doing and stuff. He's got an Astro van he's done up nice, and he'll always, when he does something in there, he'll kind of do a video on it. And he's just he's a very good talker, and he tells the stories right, and he goes into some subjects you just like, but he pulls it through, and it comes out, and you're not horrified or anything. Like he'll be like, like he'll bring up something like you're just like, whenever I meet an older woman, I always ask her, how are your hips, and you're just like, oh my God. But then he'll go on, and you're not offended or grossed out or anything by the time he's done. So it's really interesting. He's a cool dude, and I always respond and write shit out, and he always gives it a like and shit, and so it's just pretty good channel. I would recommend those, both of them, Wonder Hussy and Mike Z, or Astrovan Tribe. I think his channel is Mike Zikopoulos. But put that in there, Astrovan Tribe. I think it might be another channel he has, because But they just had a big meetup out at the Baghdad Cafe in something Springs, right outside of Bartow on Route 66. But that's apparently a famous, kind of like the place I'm playing at. It's like this bar with nothing around it, you know, in the middle of nowhere. But it's on Route 66 out in the desert there. But it was featured in a movie that's really big, a Hollywood movie, but a low budget one. But it's like a place that a lot of Japanese and German tourists, for some reason, that's a destination for them. And it's been fallen into disrepair. And in fact, the woman she's an older woman who still owns it, and she looks like she's losing her shit a little bit. Like Wonder Hussey was talking to her, and just Wonder Hussey's like, "Oh, thanks for having me here," and she's just kind of looking at her with she's probably in her 80s. But they had a meetup out there. That Wonder Hussey has meetups. She's got a lot of fans, and a lot of guys probably my age and shit. But Mike Z, she had Mike Z go there, and he has this thing where all the people who own Astro vans show up, and they had an overnight thing, bands and food trucks, and it looked like a fun time. That's another reason. It looks like there's a lot of people more on my level out there. Like the Florida, you got the golfing and just kind of a lameness about the people. Just seems that way. It seems like the people who stay out there in the Death Valley, Nevada area, Vegas area are just a little weirder and more adventurous, and that's what I consider myself. So I just think that my people may be out there. But I mean, I'm doing fine, I'm meeting people, but there's some of these people, it just seems like those are a little more my people, and they're, more of a weedy crowd, as opposed to Florida, especially here in Central Florida. It's all cigarettes and alcohol, and a lot of cigarettes. They can smoke at Charlotte's Web, you can smoke inside, and it's just like, oh. But all in all, a cool place. But I just don't understand the cigarette thing. But yeah, I'd sit there and smoke joint after joint if I could, if it was legal and you could do that. So, but anyway, so that's it. This one ended up keep going. It was another ramble. That's the game we're playing. So, yeah, I just like doing this. It's kind of like therapy, just talking about shit, recapping, kind of tightening shit up in your mind as you ramble and go bing bang around, but at the same time you're kind of consolidating some memories or whatever, or reminding yourself of stuff as well. So yeah, we'll try and do these Sunday nights, or we could switch it to Monday depending on if I'm gonna keep playing the music. We'll see. So Sunday, Monday. Roger and out. We'll put up. So I got 6 sets of music coming up this week. I'll try and get them out there. Takes a long time to upload when you're using the Wi-Fi here at the RV place. So, all right, folks.